Am I streaming yet? Am I streaming? I'm not sure. Am I streaming? What? Am I streaming? Seems like not. Yo, so guys, I'm having a bowl of noodle with two eggs and Sprite. Mm. Mm. Tastes good. Can't really much consider now, but my sleep schedule is already messed up. So I guess I don't really. So I guess I don't really care. And it's been so
So I guess I don't
fun.
really.
What are we going to do today? I don't know. I think I should watch some random YouTube video, I guess. How to learn how to anime manga on my mobile phone. Hmm. Unattractive look alike to my high school reunion. It's really that damn. I don't know what I should watch. Not sure. Let's see what I. It's fun there for me to watch. I remember there's a manga which is very cool and I'm watching. Yeah, this the
Stop taking.
I'm watch something cool out there. It gets stronger every.
Standing in front of the first door of the
Yeah,
first
let's
world he
watch
ever
this.
entered, Ed stares longingly, thinking about the faces of his previous comrades. Even though a decade has passed, he can still remember their faces as if they were yesterday. So, with the key in hand, he decided to put it in, expecting a peaceful world awaiting him on the other side of the door. But before we get to that, let's see where our current hero is at, and right now, things aren't looking good for him. With the grim look on his face, his party member tells him that there's no need to come in tomorrow. Right now, all four of them were sporting long faces. But Ed remained nonchalant and just repeated what the former told him a second ago. Our hero tries to play it cool, asking if they want him to take a day off tomorrow. But Goatee Dude kind of lost it at that, so he said it as it is. Ed's no longer needed. That's why he doesn't need to come, raising his voice while he's at it. Ed thinks that maybe he's had too much to drink, which is why this time, Goatee Dude looks at him straight in the eyes as he tells Ed that the majority of them have all agreed to this. It's not a sudden decision. Okay, now the gravity of the situation is starting to hit our boy. He looks at them frantically from left to right, asking if this is what they've really come to. Like, come on. They made
Bro, like, why do I have to do this all the way? Always do this in like mangas and stuff. Bro, why you can just be friends with each other and be fun? I don't
a
get it.
pact to defeat the Demon King, right? Ed tries to appeal to their leader, Hiro-sama, asking if it's a joke, but the long-haired man says that they're serious. He went on to acknowledge that Ed's a talented person, which is why he invited our boy to join the party in the first place. Hiro-sama also quick to admit that in the short time they spent together, Ed already taught and helped him with a lot of things. But here comes the deal breaker. How is Ed acting recently though? Our boy started to take the easy way out with the tasks given to him, and he's even indulged himself more in self-training, much to everyone's dismay. Hiro-sama points out that compared to the rest of the group, who were training to harness their skills for the upcoming battle, Ed is, well, still Ed. He's the same
Wrong. I can tell why. They have a strong reason for kicking him out. I get it.
as when he first joined. Still, the long-haired Bishonen of a Hiro-sama held on to hope, thinking that Ed would come too and start to get motivated by those around him. But enough was enough. Hearing all this, Ed could only hang his head in shame as Hiro-sama delivered the finishing blow. He was banished from the hero's party. There was a moment of silence before a voice
It's your fault.
sounded in Ed's mind. Condition met. 10 minutes remaining until return, says the voice, with their boy breaking out into a huge grin. Suddenly, he raises his hand in the air and lets out the loudest "Hell yeah!" Much to everyone's surprise, what the heck's wrong with this dude? The mage asks if he finally lost it, but Ed assures them that he's fine, claiming that his wish finally came true. He turns to them with a smile, asking if they would like to receive this, and by doing so, he opens a portal out of thin air. Okay, now that's enough to rattle them in their seats, as Ed pulls out several instruction manuals for each of his party members. But more important than that, their mage is all over him, asking that he has a dimensional storage skill all this time. But of course, Ed had to downplay it. The mage still couldn't believe it, her eyes getting glossy as she told him that they could make do with that skill in many ways. But nope, our boy pushed the manual in front of her and urged the mage and the others to read it instead. One by one, they picked it up as Ed explained that he put together a list of efficient training methods tailored for them, aside from ways to acquire new skills based on the
I get it. The title is basically he gets stronger every time his body abandons him, right? So this basically means that he has planned it all, everything single, from a little bit detail, from a little bit details, so that people can abandon him. I see.
information he got from the battles he's been through. Ed smiles and genuinely tells them that he hopes they can use it as a reference for the kind of growth they have in mind in the future. That's when one of them, a short-haired girl who's probably their healer, raises her hand and asks about a certain type of magic she was supposed to learn, though she has no idea of it. Ed looks over her shoulder to see and explains that it's something she'll learn better as she grows older, and he adds that he put together details on how to do so, which she can read through later. She thanks him in a small voice, and that's when the goatee dude from before starts bombarding him with a lot of questions. Like, what the heck was up with the perfectly drawn map Ed handed him? It's got a detailed plan and layout of hidden passages and traps that he didn't even notice before. Like before, Ed calmly explains that it's pretty handy, and that it's just a map of the places they've been to. But goatee dude couldn't believe it. There's just no way Ed could draw a map to a place he's never been to. In answer to that, Ed just tells him that it's a secret. And besides, he's no longer a party member anymore, so he doesn't owe him that.
Oh my god. Bro is so smart.
Finally, it was Hiro-sama who called out to Ed before giving a full-on 90-degree bow as he just said he was sorry. Now that was something Ed didn't expect, but the former continued to hang his head low, asking for
True.
forgiveness as he had no idea Ed was doing all this work without his knowledge. Following their leader's initiative, their healer, or at least I think she is, also bows her head in apology for trying to get rid of him without knowing his efforts. Ed starts to panic, refusing to be revered like that. Even goatee dude had to admit that Ed was doing a much better job than him. How pathetic. And he's even the one who had the guts to scold Ed, which is why he issued an apology too, and says that our hero was right. All their apologies got Ed frantic as he urged them to raise their heads. He's just doing all these as a token of gratitude for how well they treated him all this time, apart from how he just wants to be useful to them long after he's gone. Finally, it was their big-racked mage who told him that they were taking back their decision, as she questioned if there was any of them who objected to the decision. This time, Hiro-sama turns to Ed in a new light, and is about to ask the million-dollar question. But before he can say it out loud, Ed shuts them down in one go. Eh? Well, Hiro-sama hangs his head, thinking it's not that easy to banish someone, and asks them to come back in the same breath. But Ed assures him that it's not like that. Turning to the door, he looks back and tells them with a smile that he just looks forward to seeing them all defeat the Demon King as he runs out the door. Even though they called out to him, Ed was already sprinting to the local town outside. The same voice from before sounded in his head, saying he had only 10 seconds until his return, making him all giddy with excitement as he ran past the townsfolk. He jumps from rooftop to reach the bell tower, barely making it in the last 3-second countdown. He checks the place and deems that it's the most ideal one, just as the voice tells him that it's executing world transmigration and enveloping our hero in a ray of light. In just a flash, Ed is absorbed into the light, and
I
no sooner had he
see.
done so than he instantly stepped into a puddle of clear water. Finally, the world transmigration is complete, just as our hero exclaims that it's been a while since he made it back here. A world of light with a pair of chairs and a table with an orb placed on top. And right in front of him lies a multitude of doors. Ed stretches his body and says aloud how it took him almost a year to get back to this place, which is quite a long time. Before plopping into one of the chairs, with a sigh, he continues about how he's done his best to do his part. So now it's their turn to keep their promise, to take him home, as he stares at the orb right in front of him. Ed leans his head on his hand, exasperated, seeing how the orb won't say anything after all. He is disappointed but not surprised. He stands up and recalls the time he was suddenly transported into this place. Back then, Ed was just your ordinary mercenary living a peaceful life. And then suddenly, he was zapped into this mysterious world enveloped in white, along with an equally mysterious book. Right in front of him was a single door, making him wonder aloud what this all was. And yet, God remained silent, which is why our hero just opted to read the book. While reading it, Ed discovered that he needed to get through one of the doors to get to another world, and from there, his mission was to become the companion of the hero in that world. Furthermore, he needs to work with them for more than half a year to gain their level of trust. Once he's exiled from the hero's party, then the conditions will be met, thus returning him to the current world he's in. Reading all that just made our boy depressed because, apart from all those shenanigans, there's also a rule stating that once the door is open, it can never be opened again. Rather, there will be a new door that will lead to a brand new world. Even Ed himself couldn't help but sigh in exasperation since it's a lot to process. Never mind the elephant in the room, which is the bajillion doors right in front of him. This time he couldn't help but say aloud that it would take him at least 100 years to get through all these doors and get exiled from them. With his fist clenched, he tells the orb how he finally did it, and asks if it's too much to get a little celebratory mood going on. I mean, the man has a point. As usual, he's met with silence. God still wouldn't answer his claims, which made him release another exasperated sigh as he crouched and hung his head low. Thinking about it now, it's really not that cool not getting any older, he noted as he stared at his reflection. Time may have stopped here, but elsewhere it continues to flow. If he trains, he'll gain muscles, and it also follows that if he eats, he'll gain weight too. The same thing with his hair. However, whenever he returns to this world, all those changes are reset, and he's back to living in the body he was in when he first came into the said world. As he stared harder at his reflection, Ed remarked how his body and spirit remained in their 20s, even though he had visited and overcome 100 different worlds and adventures. With all that said, does it mean he's just another guy who's lived a long life? Pondering on that thought made him muse about the idea that if he went back home now, he'd be over 100 years old. No one would care about him, not even his mom or the idiots he left behind. The mere thought of this made our hero laugh a little, and then just as quickly, the blurred memories of his loved ones flashed in his mind. Huh, not so funny now, is it? Well, enough with the sappy moments. Ed calls out to God or the entity out there, demanding that they fulfill their promise to take him home. Suddenly, the orb shone brightly, making him turn toward it. Looking at it now,
Oh my God. What should I watch? When a crossbow get reconnected with that magic. Damn, it seems cool. Damn, this looks really cool.
3 lives, 3 deaths, 3 betrayals by fate itself. Each time he tried to live with kindness, the world answered with cruelty. Now reborn as a Dampier, a child of shadow and mana, he carries the curse of death itself. No gods.
That's no fun. I don't know if there anything cool or fun to do with like video games, huh? I know you think it's fun, it's great to play video game, but after that, it's over. It's like, Good user, competent user. The test taker has an effective command of the language despite some inaccuracy, inappropriate usage, and misunderstanding. They can use and understand fairly complex language. Damn, I wish I was seven too. But you know what? It's time to practice. Mm, Not done. Come here. Yes, that. And then I have ChatGPT. Yeah, this week. I will practice my pronunciation today.
Do you have an experience when you did something well?
Uh, but yes, definitely. One experience that stands out when I was helping organize a community workshop at my university last semester. I was responsible for coordinating the speakers and in matching the schedule, and everything went surprisingly smooth. The event attracted more participants than we expected, and several lecturers even compliment me on how professionally it ran. It was a moment when I genuinely felt proud of my effort because I had put a lot through into the planning and make sure every details were well taken care of. Yes, definitely. One experience that stands out when I was helping organize a community workshop at my uni.
When I did something well, I think it might actually be the time that I play video games with
When I did something well, I think it might actually be the time I play video games with my friends. At that time, we were in a very harsh moment where everyone was about to die. But luckily, I was good at that game, and so I saved everyone, saved my whole team, and of course, we won that match. It was a very memorable moment in my life, and I will never forget it. When I did something well, I think it might actually be the time I play video games with my friend. At that time, we were in a very harsh moment where everyone was about to die. But luckily, I was good at that game, and so I saved everyone, saved my whole team, and of course, we won that match. It was a very memorable moment in my life, and I will never forget it. Vocab, deep. Yes, definitely. One experience that stands out when I helped my organize a community workshop at my university last semester. I was responsible for coordinating the speakers and and managing the schedule. Everything went surprisingly smoothly. The event attracted more participants than we expected, and several lecturers even complimented me on how professional it was run. It was a moment where I genuinely feel proud of myself. Yes, definitely. One experience that stands out when I helped my organize a community workshop at my university last semester. I was responsible for coordinating the speakers and managing the schedule. Compliment,
Compliment.
compliment, com-
Compliment.
compliment
On.
on how to.
On.
Right. Yes, definitely. One experience that stands out when I have organized a community workshop at my university last semester. I was responsible. I was resp- Yes, definitely. One experience that stands out when I was when- yes, definitely. One experience that stands out was when I have organized a community workshop at my university last semester. I was responsible for coordinating the speakers and managing the schedule. Everything went surprisingly smoothly. The event attracted more participants than we expect, and several lecturers who even complimented how professional it was run. It was a moment when I genuinely feel proud of myself because the effort I have put into it. Yes, definitely. One experience that stands out was when I have organized a community workshop at my university last semester. I was responsible for coordinating the speakers and managing the schedule. Everything went surprisingly smoothly. The event attracted more participants than we expect, and several lecturers who even compliment how professional it was run.
Organized.
Organized,
Organized.
organized, organized,
Organized. Attract. Attract. Attracted.
attracted, 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 attracted,
Attracted.
attracted,
Attracted.
attracted, attracted,
Attracted.
attracted. Expect. Why not hearing anything?
Gen- Generally felt.
Generally felt. Generally felt. Generally felt. Damn, let's do it again. Yes, definitely. One experience that stands out when I was when I had organized. Yes, definitely. One experience that stands out was when I have organized a community at my university last semester. I was responsible for the coordinating the speakers and managing the schedule. Everything went surprisingly smoothly. The event the event attracted more participants than we expected, and several lecturers were even complimented me on how professional it was run. It was a moment when I genuinely feel proud of myself. Genuinely. Yes, definitely. One experience that stands out was when I helped organize a community at my university last semester. I was responsible for the coordinate. Yes, definitely. Yes, definitely. One experience that stands out when I helped organize a community workshop at my university last semester. I was responsible for coordinating the speakers and managing the schedule. Everything went surprisingly smoothly. The event attracted more participants than we expected, and several lecturers were even compliment me on how professional it was run. Yes, definitely. One experience that stands out when I helped organize a community works compliment attracted attracted. Yo, let's go. Yes, definitely. One experience that stands out was when I helped organize a community workshop at my university last semester. I was responsible for coordinating the speakers and managing the schedule. Everything went surprisingly smoothly. The event attracted more participants than we expected, and several lecturers were even complimented me on how professional it was run. It was a moment when I genuinely felt proud of myself. Yes, definitely. One experience that stands out was when I helped organize a community workshop at my university. Right? If I know how to organize my ideas well, then I can absolutely did it, you know? I can absolutely did it. If you think if you think about it for a sec, I can absolutely improve. Yes, I can absolutely. I have organized. When I have when I when I helped have organized have organized event
Event.
event
Event.
event 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 event. Yes, definitely. One experience that stands out when was yes, definitely. One experience that stands out was when I have organized a community workshop at my university last semester. I was responsible for helping coordinating the speakers and managing the schedule. Everything and went surprisingly smoothly, and the event attracted. Yes, definitely. One experience that stands out when I was yes, definitely. One experience that stands out was when I have organized a community workshop at my university last semester. I was responsible for coordinating the speakers and managing the schedule. Everything went surprisingly smoothly. The event attracted more participants than we expected, and several lecturers even compliment me on how professional it was run. It was a moment when I genuinely feel proud of myself because I had put a lot of thought into the planning. Yes, definitely. One experience that stands out was when I have organized. Yes, definitely. One experience that stands out was when I have organized a community workshop at my university last semester. I was responsible for coordinating the speakers and managing the schedule, and everything went surprisingly smoothly. The event attracted more participants than we expected, and several lecturers even compliment me on how professional it was run. Yes, definitely. One experience that stands out was when I have organized a community workshop at my university last semester. I was responsible for coordinating the speakers and managing the schedule, and everything went surprisingly smoothly.
The
Help
event attracted more participants
help
than we expected, and several lecturers even compliment me on how professional it was run.
me. Yes, definitely. One experience that stands out was when I helped organize a community workshop at my university last semester. I was responsible for coordinating the speakers and managing the schedule. Everything went surprisingly smoothly. The event attracted more participants than we expected, and several lecturers even complimented me on how professionally it was run.
Yes, definitely. One experience that
I have, have, have,
help,
have, have,
helped,
had, had, had,
have,
have,
Yes, definitely. One experience that stands out was when I helped organize. a-
have, have. This one I have on. Have on. All right. Yes, definitely. One experience that stands out yes, yes, definitely. One experience that stands out was when I had, had. Yes, definitely. One experience that stands out was when I had organized a community workshop at my university last semester. I was responsible for coordinating the speakers and managing the schedule. Everything went surprisingly smoothly. The event attracted more participants than we expected, and several lecturers even complimented me on how professionally it was run.
Yes, definitely. One experience that stands out was
Help, help, attract, help, 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 help me, help me, help me, help me, help me,
help, 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 help me, help me, help me, help me, help me.
what? I'll do it myself. Yes, definitely. Talking about when's a time when, yes, definitely. I still remember it was like 3 years ago when I, with my friends, were playing video games. At that time, we were in a total big tournament with a total prize of $1,000. It was the finals, and all of my teammates was already dead, and I was the only one left who are surviving. And somehow, I able to carry them to won that match and win $1,000 grand. I don't know why how I managed to pull that out, but it was really fun. I was really proud of myself.
Yes, definitely. I still remember it was like 3 years ago when I, with my friends, were playing video games. At that time, we were in a total big.
Yes, Very much. Yes, definitely. I still remember last year when it was Teacher Day in my country, and I managed to organize a party for my teacher. Right? I plan everything out and make a clear schedule on what to do, and I command everyone to do whatever I need to do in order to organize that party. And that's one time I was really proud myself because the teacher really liked that party. And yeah,
Yes, definitely. I still remember last year when it was Teacher Day in my country, and I managed to organize a party for my teacher. Right?
how do I even manage to get a higher band? I have no goddamn idea how I do it. Right? I think I'll stop this stream and start with the focusing on how to get a band 7.9. 7.5. Yes.